You know when you look up at the night sky and see the moon? You probably think it's just a quiet, rocky ball floating up there. Well, it turns out our moon is hiding a massive secret, and today we are going to uncover it.
Yep, way down, deep beneath the surface, there's this ginormous, super heavy blob of metal. It's so weird, scientists had to come up with a special name for it. So let's figure out what's going on.
So let's get into it. What do you even call something this strange? Well, scientists call it an anomaly. So, an anomaly is basically a fancy word for something that's, well, weird. It just doesn't fit the pattern. And this one? Oh, it's a real head-scratcher. It's so incredibly heavy that it's actually pulling the ground on the moon down towards its center. Just imagine something so heavy it creates a permanent dent in the floor of the moon. Okay, so how on earth did scientists find something buried miles deep that they can't even see? Well, the answer is super cool. It involves special spacecraft and, get this, an invisible force.
So NASA sent these spacecraft to fly over the far side of the moon. And they weren't just taking pretty pictures. Nope, they were doing something called gravity mapping. You can think of it like this. They were measuring just how much gravity was pulling on the ship from down below. It's like using gravity as a flashlight to see underground.
And as these spacecraft were flying over this huge crater near the moon's south pole, boom, they suddenly felt this extra strong tug from below. It was a total surprise. Scientists were like, whoa, what was that? They realized there had to be something incredibly dense and heavy hiding about 180 miles under the surface.
All right, so they found this invisible tug. But, that just brings up the next obvious question. Just how big is this thing, this metal monster?
Go ahead, take a guess. Seriously, think of the biggest thing you can imagine. Got it? Are you ready for this? Okay, whatever you guessed, it's probably way bigger. This hidden chunk of metal is 5 times bigger than the entire big island of Hawaii. Can you believe that? It is absolutely massive. But it's not just its size, it's how ridiculously heavy it is.
Scientists figure it weighs more than 2 times quintillion kilograms. I know, right? Quintillion. That's a word you don't just throw around. So what does that number even look like?
Get this. It's a 2 followed by 18 zeros. Let that sink in. 18. That is an almost unimaginable amount of weight, all just sitting there in one spot, deep inside the moon's mantle. That's the layer between the crust and the very center.
So what does all that weight do? Well, picture this. You put a heavy bowling ball right in the middle of a trampoline. It sags way down, right? That is exactly what this metal monster is doing to the floor of the crater above it. It's literally weighing the moon down.
Okay, so we know there's a giant, super heavy metal blob putting a dent in the moon from the inside out. But where in the world did it come from? Well, the number one theory sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. It all started with a massive cosmic crash.
So here's what most scientists think went down. About 4 billion years ago, that's a long time, a giant asteroid, maybe the size of a city, came screaming through space and just slammed into the moon. But here's the crazy part. Instead of just blowing up, the asteroid's super dense metal core actually survived the crash. It plunged deep inside, but it never made it all the way to the center. It just got stuck. Then, over billions of years, dust and lava slowly covered everything up, hiding all the evidence.
But why did it get stuck? That's a good question. See, 4 billion years ago, the inside of the moon wasn't solid rock like it is now. It was all hot and gooey, kind of like a giant jar of thick honey. So in that heavy metal core, picture it like a marble, crashed in, it just sank part of the way down before getting stuck in all that goo.
Now, that asteroid crash theory, it's the front runner for sure. But in science, you've always got to look at all the possibilities, right? And not every scientist is totally convinced that's the whole story.
So you've got 2 main camps here. On one side, you've got the asteroid theory we just talked about. But on the other side, some scientists think, hey, maybe this thing formed naturally. Their idea is that when the moon was super young and basically a giant ocean of hot magma, all the super heavy materials just kind of clumped together and sank, forming this giant blob all on its own. It's a really cool debate that's still going on.
So, a giant metal monster, a cosmic crash, a big scientific debate. This is all awesome. But you might be wondering, does it actually matter for us, here on Earth? And the answer is it absolutely does, especially when you think about the future of space exploration.
Just think about it for a second. If you were going to be one of the first people to build a base and live on the moon, wouldn't you want to know if you were setting up your new home right on top of a giant, invisible metal blob?
I think I would.
And that's exactly why this is so important. See, this discovery is in the South Pole area of the Moon, which is the exact spot where NASA and other space agencies want to build future bases for astronauts. Knowing about this huge anomaly helps scientists and engineers plan for safe missions. It helps them understand the ground beneath their feet before they even blast off.
You know, this whole thing just proves that our solar system is still jam-packed with incredible secrets. I mean, we just found a metal monster 5 times the size of Hawaii buried in our own moon. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If that's hiding in our backyard, what kind of giant, amazing secrets are still waiting for us deep inside other worlds, like, say, the planet Mars?